Cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath and this is my tips and tricks video for colonization and sectors in Stellaris. I try to compile the experiences that I made during my long let's play with the great old ones into this video so that you can learn from my mistakes and use some of the strategies that I found most useful. If you enjoyed that video, please give it a like, and if you have any questions or comments, then please leave them in the comment section. Thanks. When determining which planets you should colonize, there are three factors that you should take into consideration: habitability, size, and border projection. Now I'm going to go through these very quickly. Habitability basically caps the maximum amount of happiness that your population can reach on every planet. Your home planet always has 100% habitability because your race evolved on that planet. Planets that are the same type as your homeworld always have 80%. Don't let that 85% fool you. I researched something that increases habitability. You can do that in the later game. And then we have planets like this Arctic world that has only 60% habitability, and continental worlds. And the further you get away from your original homeworld type, the lower the habitability for your species gets. So I would always try to settle higher habitability worlds because the happiness of your population actually does make a pretty big difference in the amount of resources they produce. They get a 10% bonus to all resources produced at 80% happiness, and another 20% boost if they reach 90% happiness. So that is considerable. Go for the high habitability planets first. The second factor is the size. Planets come in a range from 1 to 25 in size. We do have a 25 size planet over here, and that basically means there are 25 tiles on this planet where we can put pops and buildings on. Now a 25 size planet is sort of a jackpot, and it's even better if it has high habitability. That is going to be a huge boon to this empire. We generally always go with bigger size planets over smaller size, so I would go for this 13 tiles continental world before I would go for that 8 tiles continental world over here. And the third factor that you should consider is border projection. Each planet and each frontier outpost project borders around them. The frontier outpost a bit less, the planets a bit more, depending on the population they have and the importance of the world. And yeah, you can see that this planet was a very strategic choice. The borders of this planet basically stop other empires from colonizing their continental world, worlds in that system, and also stop other empires from mining these resources, because other empires cannot do that within your empire's borders. So I would always go for planets that increase my borders before I start settling planets that are already within my borders. I have, for example, not settled the 2 ocean worlds in the Alpha Centauri system because that always lay within the borders that Relay was projecting out. I would only consider settling planets that are already within my borders when the whole galaxy that I can, or the whole land that I can reach is divided up between the empires, which is now pretty much the case. So now we're gonna get into phase 2 of the colonization game and start colonizing planets within our borders. So these are the three factors that you should consider when you colonize: habitability, size, and border projection. One of the strategies that has worked very well for me is the denying of colonizable worlds through frontier outposts. Other empires cannot colonize planets within your borders, and frontier outposts project borders in a concentrical fashion around themselves. So I found a nice ocean world in that system, but didn't have the colony ship to colonize that system right away. So I sent a construction ship in there and built a frontier outpost. And that frontier outpost now protects this whole system from being colonized by my neighbors. You can see that there is a desert world in there as well as an ocean world. We are an ocean race, so that is a good planet for us. But my neighbors, the United Hisma States, live on desert and arid worlds, so they would very easily be able to colonize that system. But by putting a frontier outpost over there, I basically prevented them. And that is a very good way to stop your neighbors from expanding and from securing yourself resources and good colonizable planets until you can colonize them. As soon as you have colonized them, I would recommend removing the frontier outpost again to save the influence cost. We did the same over here to stop my neighbors over here, the Shabtak Holy Foundation, from expanding in that direction. I have a frontier outpost over here, and I have one over here to stop these guys from jumping the gap and colonizing. And all these planets that lie within my borders, I can colonize later when I have the resources and the colony ships. One of the questions that you might have when you start colonizing is, will I lose the resource on a colonizable planet when I colonize it? Like, for example, this 2 engineering research that we are getting from that research station over here. And the short answer is no. The long answer is the highest value resource of a colonizable planet gets picked and is mineable from orbit. That is, in this case, this 2 engineering research over here. And if you colonize it, you get access to all tiles. You are going to lose the research station in this case. In other cases, a mining station, but you will get access to this planet. So fear not, go out there and colonize all the planets that you want. Whenever you colonize a new planet, you are asked to put down your first building, and there are a couple of things to keep in mind when you put down that building. If I were to colonize this Arctic world, for example, I first have to choose the colony ship that I want to use. I'm going to use the one with the most habitability, and then I have to plop down this reassembled ship shelter. I'm going to plop it down here for the moment, but I'm going to tell you what you have to keep in mind for it. Now, the reassembled ship shelter can be upgraded to a planetary administration as soon as your newly colonized planet reaches 5 population. And as you can see, this planetary administration gives some adjacency effects. It gives +1 mineral, food and energy credits to all the directly adjacent tiles. So to that tile, to that tile, to that tile, and to that tile, as demonstrated on our homeworld. You can see these little plus signs that show you that the adjacency effect is active. The higher your level, the level of your admin building, the higher the adjacency effect. This is the highest level building, the Empire Capital Complex, and it gives +3 to all these tiles. So what does that mean? It means that you should not put the reassembled ship shelter on the edge of a planet, because then you're losing tiles that you could give the adjacency bonus to. For example, I placed that ship shelter suboptimally on that tile. But the good thing is you can remove that thing. I would be able to demolish the building and put it somewhere else. I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute. First, have a look at what is on this tile. We have minerals and food on it. And I chose that tile because that production is not going to be suppressed later. If you have a look at the planetary administration, you see that it produces 3 food and 3 minerals. So you can profit from that tile later. First, the assembled ship shelter only gives you 2 food, but as you upgrade it, you get the minerals back. So that is something to keep in mind as well. There are a lot of tiles that give minerals and food. And if you place it on one of those tiles, then you're making the most of it. Please notice that planetary administration does not give an adjacency effect to science tiles. So ideally you put the ship shelter somewhere where it gives bonuses to energy, food or minerals. And you really want to upgrade your reassembled ship shelter as fast as possible, as soon as you reach 5 pops, because it increases the ethics divergence of the people on this planet. What does that mean? That means that your pops are going to lose traits or gain new traits that are not the ethics of your empire. We are spiritualists, militarists and xenophobes, and you can see that these guys, this is a xenophobe and militarist, but lost the spiritualist trait. This guy is a militarist spiritualist, he lost the xenophobe trait. Some of them still have all the traits, but some of them don't, and the ethics divergence is pretty bad because it makes it more difficult for you to rule a big empire. So what you could do is you could just colonize a planet and then get rid of the reassembled ship shelter. By doing that, you would lose the 2 food that the reassembled ship shelter produces, but that could actually be worth it, I'm not sure. But you don't have to worry too much about placing that thing suboptimal at first, because you can always build a proper planetary administration later if you want to. If I decided that this tile is not as good as this one, then I could just start demolish the ship shelter and then build a proper planetary administration down here, and everything would be alright. So keep these things in mind. Ethics divergence, the tile that you build on should be a mineral and food tile. You want the proper adjacency bonus. You don't want to put it beside a science tile, and you want to upgrade it as soon as you reach 5 population to get rid of the ethics divergence. So you have put down your first building and colonized a planet. What is it that you should do next? And I would recommend putting down a frontier clinic. This is a researchable building. I would recommend putting it on a food tile next to your reassembled ship shelter so that you can later get the adjacency bonus for it. And the frontier clinic not only gives you 2 food, which is way more than what you can get from the basic hydroponics farms. You're limited to these basic buildings until you upgrade your reassembled ship shelter to a proper planetary administration. So it gives you more food than every other building, and it also increases the habitability of a planet by 5%, and that is not inconsiderable because the habitability of a planet limits your happiness. And the higher your happiness, the more your people produce on that planet. So I would always recommend going for the frontier clinic first. That should be the first building that you put down on a new planet. The only reason why it hasn't been put down on that planet is because I gave that building, that planet to a sector, and the sectors don't seem to agree with me. Just remember, research the frontier clinics as soon as you can and then put them down on every planet as the first building on a food tile. Alright, so you followed my advice, put down your ship shelter in a good spot and build a frontier clinic on your newly colonized planet. What should you do next? I would recommend putting down more food buildings because you want to get to 5 population as fast as possible to get rid of your reassembled ship shelter. And for that I would put down basic hydroponic farms on the next 3, or on the best 3 food tiles. Even 2, the next best 2 food tiles would do the job, because when you reach 5 population you can upgrade the ship shelter. You can also start resettling people to and from this planet, and it's going to make your life a lot easier because your pops grow faster the more surplus food you have. So just keep that in mind. Plaster that planet with food building. You can always destroy them and put other buildings on top of them. I want to make this planet into a mineral planet later. That is why it's called minerals, to remind me of that. But I'm still going to put a basic hydroponics farm on that double tile just to get to 5 populations a little bit faster. And I would generally recommend growing your population as fast as you possibly can. And the upside of these basic buildings instead of the higher level ones are that they do not cost any maintenance. So they are basically free except for the minerals that you have to put out. So go for food first. So you optimize your food production on the surface of your planet. What else can you do to help your colony grow? And I would recommend researching orbital hydroponic farms as soon as you get it. This basically gives you a spaceport module that produces 3 food. Now it doesn't look like much, but if you have actually a look at the planet, you can see that 3 food might be the 3rd best tile on this. Plus you do not need a pop to work that orbital module, so you can get that as soon as you have built a spaceport in here for 360 minerals, and you just click on this empty module slot and you select the orbital hydroponics farms. I would also recommend going for a solar panel network after that, because that basically pays for the spaceport. If you have a look at it, we are paying 3 energy credits per month maintenance for this spaceport. So if you put a solar panel network on it, the costs are nullified. So remember, going for the orbital hydroponics farms as early as possible on your colonies can give them a pretty big boost. This food surplus would go up to 9 if I were to put a orbital hydroponics farm on it, and that makes quite a difference. The higher your food surplus, the faster your pops grow. So give your colonies the jumpstart. Another thing that you can do to help your colonies grow fast and save yourself some valuable resources is cycling through your colony governors. So currently this place has no governor, so we're going to take the governor that reduces building costs. He's currently governing our homeworld. We're going to take him. And then we're going to go on a building spree on the surface. We're going to build all the buildings that we need down here. Let's say we need some power plants. We're going to build all these at a 20% reduced cost. And when we have built everything that we wanted, we're going to change them out for the type of governor that is best used for growing colonies. We're going to use this guy. He had an agrarian upbringing, which increases the food by 10% and reduces the hydroponics farm build cost by 20%. And that 10% additional food can make quite a difference over the long run, because your pops grow faster the higher that food surplus is. So that is another way to help your colonies grow. Now, one thing that you might not know about sectors is that sectors do not really have the control over your spaceports, but you retain the control of them. They will build them out if they have enough minerals. They can basically increase the rank of the spaceport, but you can still build things. So Magrotosh, for example, is in the Heartland sector, but I can still build destroyers. I specialized this spaceport earlier to be my destroyer port, and I can still build things. You can either zoom in the system and select the spaceport directly, or you can go over here to planets and sectors, click on the sector so that it shows all the planets, and then if you click on it, you get the spaceport and can build things. It's a bit clunky, but it works. If you have been colonizing for a while, you will reach the cap of planets that you can control directly, your core planets, and then you have to start utilizing sectors. Now, I would argue that sectors need to be small. You get one new sector to your sector limit every 4 planets, and you can give them different focuses. Now, I would argue that a sector should be about 4 to 5 planets big, because that allows you more customization. For example, these planets are all slave planets. They are of a race that I conquered and enslaved, and so the ideal use for them would be mineral production. And I've given them to the western border, but these planets are all settled with my native species on native planets, so they might be better suited for research. But because I have lumped them in one big sector, I can't really fine-tune what they should produce, and therefore I am producing some efficiency. So even if the AI were totally superb at managing huge sectors, which it currently isn't, then it would still have a benefit to go for smaller sectors. You can very easily give your sectors focuses on what they should produce. You can see that my western border sector that we've seen over here is set on minerals, so it's producing a lot of minerals, but it might be easier to fine-tune this if I were to create 2 separate sectors out of these. You can give them resources, you can give them energy credits and minerals, and that is another thing that how you can fine-tune your things. If you need research right now, if you need minerals right now, you want to spend your resources where they are most useful to you, and the smaller the sector, the more surgically and precise you can actually do that. So I would recommend making small sectors with only a few planets. You can always remove planets from your sector if you didn't know that. If I were to edit this western border sector, I can add that and that system to the sector. And if I click on it again, I will have to pay 25 influence, but I can just remove all these planets from that sector and be done with it, basically. And yeah, that is it. Hope that helps. Hooray! You made it to the end of the video. If you found any of these tips helpful, then please give the video a like so that I can show up in search rankings and help even more people. If you want to know more about Stellaris, you might want to check out the playlist. I got some other tutorial and tips videos for Stellaris that might help you. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave them in the comment section. And I do hope that I see you in one of my Let's Play series. Thanks, bye bye.